City of Stevens Point Common Council meeting, recorded September 18, 2023.
I have 7 o'clock. We will call the regular Common Council meeting of the City of Stevens Point to order. Clerk, could I please get a roll?
Christensen.
Here.
Shore.
Here.
Keemer.
Here.
Burr.
Here.
Plassance.
Here.
Kneebone.
Here.
Shuda.
Here.
Lang.
Here.
Fischler.
Here.
Morrow.
Here.
Everyone is present that is currently with the City Council. If you join me, please, for our salute to the flag. That was a dig on former alderperson. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the interest of brevity and special request from several department heads, I will forego my opening remarks this evening. And we'll move right on to item number 3. Persons who wish to address the mayor and council on a specific agenda item other than a public hearing must register their request at this time. We do not have any public hearings on the agenda for this evening. So we will move right on into item number 4, which is persons who wish to address the mayor and council for up to 3 minutes on it regarding a non-agenda item. We do have one speaker, Jigasa. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for having me. Greetings, City Council members, Mayor, and other city officers, as well as the public. We at Shama and One Word Inc. wish to offer you all this token which you have received at your desk of appreciation for allowing us to participate in the well-being of the world, our state, and our city through the Festival of India and many other events that we have participated in regionally over the years. We have done that for almost 37 years, and we have all been blessed by the positivity that at each of these numerous events. We wish to add to this joy and gratitude our hope for peace and harmony, and to present each of you with this small gift in honor of one of the global fathers of peace, Mahatma Gandhi, whom we honor every year on his birthday, October 2nd, as well as in prayer following the anniversary of September 11th. Please know that we honor all great leaders from all corners of the world, and we wish to highlight the need to remain vigilant toward the advent of every possible tyranny, and to always keep up the study as a part of human nature and global history. Please accept this offering and know that each of you is welcome to engage us on a personal or on a professional level in our organizations. Thank you for your time. We celebrate this peace and unity regardless of the current climate or circumstances. In the name of peace and unity, we have a gift that says, live like you may die tomorrow, but learn like you will live forever. Thank you so much. If any of you have any questions about our ongoing activities, please, you have a business card. Please feel free to connect with us and collaborate with us in any way you feel willing to. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jigasa. And we just had the Festival of India a couple of weeks ago at the Schmeeckley Reserve Visitor Center. But keep an eye, they do a really good job on Facebook of letting you know when their events are. And of course, we have a card. For those of you at home who are unable to see this, it's just a picture of Gandhi that was given out to each of the alderpersons. Alrighty, item number 5 is the consent agenda. Is there anything that we wish to discuss further from the consent agenda? If not, I would accept a motion.
So moved.
Motion to approve by President Christensen, second by Morrow. This is what I like to see. That's good. Discussion. Comments from the audience? Hearing and seeing none, clerk, could I please get a roll?
Christensen.
Aye.
Shore.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Plassance.
Aye.
Kneebone.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Fischler.
Aye.
Morrow.
Aye.
And that is approved. Item number 6 is a resolution, a request from Ryan Wanta, representing SPB LLC, for a conditional use permit to construct an addition onto an alcohol production facility located at 2617 Water Street, with the parcel identified in your packet, consistent with chapters 23.02 sub 3 sub A sub 3 sub S, and Chapter 22.02 sub 3 sub A sub 4.
I'll move approval.
Okay, moved by Fischler,
Second.
seconded by Lang. Discussion? Comments from the audience? Hearing none. Will clerk please call that roll?
Morrow.
Aye.
Fischler.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Kneebone.
Aye.
Plassance.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
Shore.
Aye.
Christensen.
Aye.
And that is approved. Item number 7 is an ordinance amendment against Chapter 9.05 as it relates to parking.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Moved by Keemer,
Second.
seconded by Morrow. Discussion? Comments from the audience? Hearing and seeing none. Clerk, can I get a roll call, please?
Christensen.
Aye.
Shore.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Plassance.
Aye.
Kneebone.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Fischler.
Aye.
Morrow.
Aye.
And that's approved. Item number 8, Director Badoon, if you're here and you want to come forward, now's the time to start walking. It's to award the 2023 Fall Paving Project 23-12. Sealed bids will be open today, and they were at 1 o'clock. Director sent out a memo summarizing the bids, and it is staff's recommendation that the project be awarded to American Asphalt in an amount not to exceed $346,564.52, which includes a 15% contingency.
Move to approve.
Moved by Kneebone,
Second.
seconded by Burr. Discussion? Comments from the audience? Hearing none, clerk, roll call, please.
Morrow.
Aye.
Fischler.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Kneebone.
Aye.
Plassance.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
Shore.
Aye.
Christensen.
Aye.
And that's approved. Item number 9 is ordinance regarding burning regulations coming through from our fire marshal and the police department, or the fire department. Sorry, buddy. Chief, is there anything you want to add on that? Don't feel you have to. I mean, if there are. Okay. I don't know. We're moving along pretty good here.
Is that a comment about the chief?
No.
Oh, just checking.
No, not at all.
That I'm long-winded?
Not at all.
I just wanted to make a clarification, or if there was any other discussion that needed to be had. Last week when we discussed this, as far as the open burning and the time changes, I know there were some questions about that. We had back the time changes up till 9 p.m. or 2100 for those things. And then as far as the open burning, they're going to need to have those actual permits to be able to burn. Otherwise, those things are going to have to be taken to DPW and disposed of properly. And what we have found is this year, for some reason, our burning complaints are up, and this is the need for this change. This year alone, we've already had 50+ burning complaints, and it's been dealing with just burning vegetation. And so that's why we've addressed this concern with the community and the needs for a change, and that's why this is moving forward.
The only question I had, Chief, is, well, some of the distances. I know that especially on the north side, the lots are smaller. And it says needs to be 10 feet from any building. I don't know if that's physically possible in some yards.
Then you will not be allowed to burn within your property area, and you'll have to dispose of it a different way, because we need to keep that distance.
When you say burn, though, campfires, cookouts.
They have to still be within that 10 feet away from a building inside one of those burning fire pits.
Okay. That one is cause for concern, because I know that there's some small lots out there.
And I know that
There's at least 3 fire pits on my block that very likely do not meet that 10-foot.
And we are not going to go out there and inspect every one of those campfire rings or where you put them, but if a burning complaint were to come in and we were to go on scene and actually see that, then there will be some more investigation done.
Okay.
But
it's my understanding right now that any complaint that the fire department responds to currently today, you can order them to put it out regardless, correct?
Correct. So But normally we don't, long as it's within the burning parameters and there's no issues, and if they've pulled the proper permits, there's usually no problems. Usually it's more of an educational piece to the neighbors to explain to them that they are within parameters and they can be doing what they're actually doing.
Okay.
So, and that distance from a structure has not been a change in the recent updates. So that's been in place for some time now.
Okay.
So, and we haven't had any issues with it.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
The one other thing I just wanted to mention is the fact that one of the other reasons we're adopting this too is so it'll actually be an ordinance and be easier for the public to be able to find. So it's also as a public service so they can see what the actual parameters are.
Correct. And again, not only is it easier for the community and constituents that we serve, but also if anybody ever has any questions, I mean, we have a line to the firehouse that's 24/7, 365, and we will answer any questions. And if there's ever a question in regards to can you come out and look at what we're specifically doing, we will send someone out to look at it and evaluate it as well. There's never been that problem.
Thank you.
Alder Shore?
Thank you, Mayor. So the main thing seems to be, just making sure I understand, that use of a fire pit, particularly manufactured contained, and on your paved surface, you're good. Burning leaves, you need a permit.
There will be no more burning permits for that.
Okay.
So unless you get a special burning permit to burn, like a construction company would get to burn a certain area, or to burn those larger areas for development where they can't truck that stuff off-site, the vegetation, that would be allowed to have a permit. Those still would have to be out by 9 p.m. We've changed that time from 11 to 9, again, because of those burning complaints we found even with construction and clearing properties. We wanted to make sure that people like to go to bed at night, open their windows in the summer, and they don't want that smoke coming into their houses, and so we've changed that time.
And the prohibition on zone residential is what rules out most of that yard.
Correct.
Thank you.
Alder Plaisance?
I see that this is revised. How do we know in this what is changed and what hasn't?
This actually wasn't revised. This is created. It says so if you look at the top of page 87.
I'm looking at the heading of it. It says ordinance amending the revised municipal code.
We're amending the municipal code by adding a section. So section 1, subsection 6.11 is hereby created.
Okay.
So yes, it's an amendment to our existing code of ordinances.
So all this is new.
The amendment is that we're creating a new subsection.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
There were rules previously, but they weren't part of code. So this is the first time that's ever been as an ordinance.
Right.
Correct.
So,
Any other questions?
well, yeah, maybe I'm the only one, but it seems like some of this is extremely restrictive. Alder Morrow, do you have a grill?
Yes,
Where's your grill?
on my deck.
Yes.
Well, I think the chief outlined it where he's, they're not going to be arresting people for having it a little closer if they've had it that way and there's been no complaints.
And I understand that, but then what we're saying is we're not going to enforce the ordinances that we have in the books.
No, we are going to enforce the ordinances. So we
if someone has a
don't
grill on their
have.
deck, they have to move it now.
If there's a complaint,
So the fire department, when it comes to doing fire inspections, only has the ability to go to certain places and do an actual inspection. The fire department does not have the authority to do an inspection of a residential home, or does not inspect every residential home in the city of Stevens Point. But if we are called for a burning complaint or a concern, we do have the right to enter the property and to review what is being done at that time. And from there, everyone will have to comply with those standards.
Okay. I'm very uncomfortable with this. I think it's obvious, but that's okay. Alderperson Nebone.
If you look at number 4 and number 5, where it says liquid petroleum and natural gas, fueled cooking devices, charcoal grills, and open flame, it says, shall not be operated within 10 feet of a building or a lot line except in single-family dwellings. So a grill on your deck is okay if you're in a single-family home.
Right, a duplex is not.
Correct.
I have mine 10 feet away.
I know, and I really think everybody is,
Sure you do.
most everybody is safe. I don't want to give the wrong impression here, but I think this is going to take most people by quite a surprise.
And it actually shouldn't, because when we go out and enforce those large apartment complexes and other things within our community, what we're seeing is they have those charcoal or gas grills up on their 4-foot by 4-foot deck or 6-foot by 6-foot deck on the 3rd or 4th floor, and again, that's not acceptable.
Right. That doesn't.
And so that's part of that standard is why that's written that way. And again, pointing out the difference between a residential home and different classifications.
I very much understand what we're putting into ordinance here. I just think it's going to take quite a few people by surprise. And if I'm the only one, that's okay.
And that's part of the fire department's responsibilities, the educational aspects of this too. After this is voted through, there's that educational piece. And this isn't our battalion chiefs or our lieutenants or our division chief of the bureau going out and citing these people the first time this offense occurs. But what this does do is it gives the opportunity for our fire department to educate these people with these changes and to make this a better place for all of our community members.
All right, Alder Shore.
Well, I mean, just maybe seeking further clarification on the issue you raised, could you share with us, you must have considered the question of duplexes in this regard. If you would share kind of the thinking behind it coming out this way.
So we have to look at what we actually have within the fire department as far as statutes are concerned and where we have the ability to have our backing. And legally, we have to know where we can enforce these and when we can enforce these rules. And so that was part of that, is knowing that what types of buildings we can actually inspect and enforce the NFPA standards. NFPA 2012 is the current inspection manual that we're using, and what buildings we can inspect, what type of occupancies we can inspect, and where we have the legal liability and where that stands. So all that's been considered when we talk about residential, duplexes, 3 living units or more. All of those things play into our legal liabilities and what we can enforce and what we can't as a local fire department.
And as far as the yard waste, I completely agree with that. We have multiple options for yard waste disposal, and it's composted, so we don't need to burn it. So I think that's real good. Do we have a motion yet?
No motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the burning regulation.
Moved by Kiemer,
I'll second.
seconded by Fischler.
I have
Morrow?
a comment. I know my son lives in downtown St. Paul, and he lives in a big apartment complex downtown, and he has a little grill on his deck, and the deck's like a metal deck, so it's not wood. It's not like Trex or anything like that, and they're allowed to have like a small grill, and that's not 10 feet away from his building.
No, and I understand where the chief is coming from. People, some people do things like this, cooking out or having campfires or burning things they shouldn't be, and we need to be able to address that. I personally find some of these overly restrictive, and I think others will be surprised.
And what we've explained
Passes.
and explained to those individuals who live in those large apartment complexes who do have grills on their decks, we've explained to them that most of them have when they receive an apartment or an area, especially in this local area, they usually get a one-stall garage, or they usually get a storage area somewhere, and we just tell them to keep that grill in that storage area, and when they want to cook out, they just pull it out, and they can go ahead and cook out and have a good time, and then they can make sure, again, to follow the rules of the road and make sure that that fire is completely extinguished. The whatever type of grill you're using, whether it's gas or charcoal, is cooled down before you put it back into that storage area or that building, and again, then store it till the next time.
One more question, Chief, before we vote. It talks about except in single-family dwellings. There's a fair amount of college housing that is not single-family, but it is one unit. Now those have to be 10 feet away, and
Most of those college dwellings are not single unit, they're multi-unit, and once they meet a certain threshold of being so many units within that one address, it is an inspectable area, and we can enforce those exact parameters.
well, that's what I'm saying, though. There are student housing residences that are a single house. There may be 4 or 5 people living there.
4 or 5 different units in a single address.
Right.
So then we could enforce that.
717A, 717B, but it's one house.
But it's not
According-
single family if you have.
According to this, though, they would now have to move the grill 10 feet away from the property line, any buildings, and if they're going to have a fire, they have to have it no more than, or
At least 10
50
feet
feet away? Where did I see the 50 feet? From a commercial building. There we
So
go.
it would not be considered a commercial building, it would still be,
Including multifamily residential and other
Okay.
than 2-family dwellings is what it says.
okay, so then it wouldn't have to meet that standard.
My lot is 50 feet wide. If, and it used to be in the 70s, it was a college house. If I have a small lot that doesn't allow me 50 feet, then I can't grill out. Is that what you're saying in this ordinance?
I'd have to read the ordinance again, or that parameter. So I think you're talking about the fire pit, not the...
Open burning.
Open burning. So that's different than grilling.
Roasting marshmallows?
Okay, so now roasting marshmallows on the open burning. That's not a grill, it's not a charcoal grill, it's not a gas grill, that's different. That would be open burning under a campfire regulations.
So I can't have a s'more.
Well,
I can't have a fire.
You
want to
can.
roast it in your grill.
You can't roast it over an open burning.
Oh, well, yeah.
Do it over your
But
grill.
you
have a fire
couldn't
pit.
have a fire pit if your lot was only 50 feet wide,
Correct.
Correct.
or, well, 100 feet wide, 99 feet wide.
Again, it depends where the buildings are suited on that lot.
All right. Any questions from the audience?
Got one more you get to.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, this time frame of 9 PM is, I see that's with open burning with a permit. Does that also include campfires?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Nope, that would be if you pull a special permit to actually do a large-scale burn, that has to be extinguished by 9 PM. That does not include clean wood campfires at your residence. Those can burn past 9 PM.
And one more thing, there's also the stipulation there, winds over 9 miles per hour as measured from Station 1. Is there going to be some way that the general public knows whether or not you have 9-mile-an-hour winds?
They have been continuously always calling in. And anytime they call in, we always give them the parameters and tell them whether it's they're able to burn or not. Sometimes we recommend, especially during the day when the winds are higher, we tell them to call back in the evening, and maybe we will issue something later in the day, because as the winds die down and it gets below that threshold of 9 miles an hour, we will then issue that permit. And that, again, has been something in the standards for a long period of time. No, that's not a change.
There's nothing in here that would keep somebody from heating with wood in their home.
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Seeing no other questions, if you're in favor, vote yes. If you're opposed, vote no, and the clerk will call that roll.
Christensen.
Aye.
Shore.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Plassance.
Aye.
Kneebone.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Fischler.
Aye.
Morrow.
No.
And by majority consent, that passes. Item number 10 is a resolution authorization to apply for an Energy Future grant. On page 91 of your packet, this is the authorization to apply for the grant. And if we get it, we are also directing staff to accept the grant funds pursuant to the grant application and execute any and all documents and assurances which may be required for the same.
So moved.
Moved by Christensen, seconded by Shore. Discussion? Comments from the audience? Roll call, please.
Morrow.
Aye.
Fischler.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Kneebone.
Aye.
Plassance.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
Excuse me. Shore.
Aye.
Christensen.
Aye.
And that passes. Keep your fingers crossed, please. Item number 11 is a request from the City of Stevens Point to purchase an unaddressed parcel adjacent to Jefferson Street and LaSalle Avenue with the parcel identified in your packet. There's a memo from our associate planner on page 92 of your packet.
So moved.
Motion to approve by Morrow, seconded by Shore. Discussion?
I think this is going to be a great opportunity for us to like bring in some new housing, new single-family housing, so people just aren't moving the plover hole and so on and so forth. And they're going to have city utilities as well.
Excellent. Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
Gives us control over how this gets developed.
It certainly does. Any other comments? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Christensen.
Aye.
Shore.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Plassance.
Aye.
Kneebone.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Fischler.
Aye.
Morrow.
Aye.
And that is approved. Item number 12 is consideration of options for filling the unexpired term of District 4 Alderperson. So as you know, Alder Zarazua resigned, and the council has a couple of options. You can leave the seat sit vacant until the April election. People will take out paperwork beginning December 1st for all of the even-numbered districts for a spring 2024 election. You could leave it sit vacant. You can appoint to fill the unexpired term, and that process, you would generally take applications, have an interview, and vote to appoint someone to fill that unexpired term. And there are a couple of things you can do there. There is an election in April of 2024. In some cases, whoever gets appointed can be perceived as having an advantage in that election. If you wanted to avoid that, you could put a requirement on that that person would not be interested in running in 2024. Or you can have no restrictions on there and appoint whomever you'd like. That meets all of the requirements, of course. Tonight, we will decide if you want to do something, and if so, what. And then the goal was, if you were going to appoint, and I don't recommend that you leave it vacant as a District 4 resident, so I would recommend that we fill it, but the choice is up to you as to how or any stipulations that you wanted to put on there. I think that those are the options that you have available. Yes, sir.
In the past, we've always used option 2 as long as I've been here. I know several of us have been appointed in the past, because I don't think it's good to leave it open, and it costs the city more to have a special election. And it seems to have worked out really well, so that the each district still have someone that's going to represent them. I don't think it's necessarily an advantage, because if you don't end up doing your job, you're not going to be re-elected.
Okay. Any other comments? Alder Shore.
Yeah, I mean, I think our pattern is right. When it's going to become difficult at some point is, I agree that this would be too many months to leave the seat open. Eventually, there's going to come a seat vacant in November, December, January, when it really does start to get tough to put someone, into the position just for the short time. No, I don't know how closely we've looked at special election. I know we haven't tried it. I'd certainly be open. No, okay.
Easy.
All right, yeah.
Special elections are extremely expensive.
The argument against it has been made apparent to me just from the body language a moment ago, relating what I infer the workload for the city clerk's office. Point taken. So then I guess, the only thing, I do think this is the right way to go. At some point, there is going to come an opening that's going to just be too close.
If there were a November election this year, we could have acted a little bit quicker perhaps and got it on that ballot, but there is no November election. The next regular election is very likely going to be a primary in February.
Possibly February, not
Possibly,
April.
but definitely April. We don't know that, though, so we can't say have it elected.
It could be an
in April.
interesting option to look at if it's already happening.
We've done this on a couple of different levels. When Mayor Halverson resigned early, for example, we appointed former Mayor Gary Westcott with the intention, Mr. Westcott said that he had no intention of running for the job. He hit the ground running and finished out the term, and that was it. He was really doing the city quite a service for that.
Here we are in the early to mid-fall. I'm just saying that eventually, because things happen, this is going to come up in the winter, like
I think
right
it did already.
in
It did.
The person to your right.
No, I was in September, but
Oh, you were
Director
September?
Plassance
Oh,
was
then it
November.
Okay. I know it's come up
So
short.
it already has.
I'm not a fan of leaving seats vacant. Appointing is not ideal, because when we appoint as a council, the only people who have zero say in who represents them are the people of that district. District 4 won't have a vote
It's not
on
entirely
this appointment.
Right.
But having someone there representing the district, in my opinion, is better than having it just sit vacant. Yes, Alder Kiemer.
Thank you. If there was a fall November election, or say a primary in February, would there be that $2,500 cost to add an alder for District 4 to the ballot? Or is it just?
If we had an election, it wouldn't be quite that,
Okay.
it'd be a little extra printing, because that wasn't a category typically on
Okay.
the ballot, but it wouldn't be that total cost, because we already had an election.
Got it. Thank you.
Right, with a special election, you're responsible for the
We
sole
pay
cost of all the
everything.
ballots, all the labor. Yeah, it gets to be challenging. Now, I should say that I know several people have expressed interest already. One of particular note is former city clerk, retired police officer Paul Petrusky, who is a lifelong resident of the Fourth District. He said he would be interested in appointing but not running. But I also know that there's other Fourth District residents who are qualified that probably would be interested in running in April. But the choice is yours. Alder Plassance. I saw Alder Lang wanting to say something, but he just wanted me to tell me to look over my shoulder.
Okay. I kind of look back, I'm not a fan of the special election for this. I'm not into any more extra costs. I look at the last, myself and then the other two people who are present here that I know of. I'm not sure if any of you other ones were brought on in mid-time, but one of the stipulations that they had with me was that we want to make sure if we're electing someone that we want them to run for the office when the time comes that they're supposed to. Filling it in a temporary position is all nice, but the city goes on. Let's look to get someone who's going to be there, hopefully beyond, if they're good enough to get elected by their local residents. Let's move forward, and let's not just sit with a temporary situation and fill it with someone that has no real wanting to do the job for 2 years. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone on this side? I'll go back to this side because I'm going to get whiplash. I think,
You need a motion.
We need a motion, no.
oh, I was just seeing if there were questions on your options.
That's why I'm waiting, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Do you have a-
then I can wait till there's a motion.
All right, so if we're done with questions on options, I'll ask for a motion.
I move that that the council make an appointment for this seat.
Okay?
Option 2?
We'll give the second to Plaisance. So clarification on your motion. You will appoint, so beginning tomorrow, we will open up an application process and have Fourth District candidates who are qualified submit those applications. We'll get them to council and have that appointment in October.
And there's no need to specify about the election because
Correct.
April election is
If
happening.
if that's your choice,
Right.
there is no need. It's just, I know with Paul Petruski, he's very well experienced with all forms of city government, and he threw it out there, I threw it out there on his behalf. So,
My motion does not
right.
specify
Yep.
that.
Anybody who's
and-
qualified. And for those watching at home, qualifications are you're at least 18 years old, live in the district, have no pardoned felony offenses, and are able to vote in the city of Stevens Point, right?
Correct.
Pretty strict. Any comments regarding the motion?
A second.
We have a second.
This
Let's not have the
is
second.
option 2 is what we're
Yes.
entertaining. Okay.
I just wanted to stress, I think it's very important because in this time, we are going to vote on the full city budget. And I think we need representation from everybody, and we need representation from everybody in the city from every single area.
Understood. Further comments? Yes.
Since we're pretty close to that April election anyway, for that even-numbered term, pretty much we've appointed people to give them the option to run at the next logical election, which usually is the April alder election. So this option 2 pretty much goes along with what we've done all along.
Historically.
So, and again, it's one person, one vote on a panel of 11. So, is what it is. I think it's a good choice.
I think it'll be just fine. Any other comments? Comments from the audience? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Morrow.
Aye.
Fischler.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Kneebone.
Aye.
Plaisance.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Keimer.
Aye.
Shore.
Aye.
Christensen.
Aye.
And that is approved. We'll start taking applications tomorrow for possible appointment in October, and they will fall into the November round of meetings. With that, our agenda is exhausted, and we stand adjourned at 7:37. Coming out of the sky.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.